Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you so much for joining us this Thursday evening, August 30th. Well, I'm welcoming our viewers not just on TV, but online. Tonight's a big night. Mitt Romney's big chance here to connect with the American public, his chance to kind of reintroduce himself to them. And we're going to have complete coverage live from Tampa, and our Andrew Whitman is there on the scene. But in fact, let's go to ABC News correspondent Andrew Travers, who's joining us with the very latest.
Mitt Romney will accept the Republican nomination, and he'll have a big opportunity to try and connect with voters and gain an advantage in a very tight race. For Mitt Romney, tonight may be the biggest moment of the campaign.
It'll be my privilege to make my case to the American people. Together, we'll get this country back on track. We'll deliver the recovery we've been waiting for.
Officials say in his acceptance speech, Romney will focus on his values and vision for how to lead America back to prosperity. But with just 68 days to go until Election Day, Romney's staring down some serious hurdles. He's been running for president for almost 6 years, but in some ways, he's still introducing himself to voters. He took a beating from his Republican rivals during the primary season, and for the last several months, the Obama campaign has been hammering him with negative ads. The attacks seem to have stuck. A new ABC News Washington Post poll found that Romney has the lowest personal popularity at the time of the convention of any major party nominee dating back to 1984.
It's important to connect emotionally before then. That gives you the chance then, I think, to allow people in. You're allowed in, and then you can make your case.
Romney also needs to show empathy tonight because voters aren't convinced he actually has it. Our poll also found that 58% of Americans say Romney would favor the wealthy over the middle class. Campaign officials say tonight will focus on selling Romney's story, and that includes his Mormon faith. The lineup tonight features people that Romney has helped and influenced as a member of the Mormon Church. And tonight's mystery guest has been revealed. It's Clint Eastwood. The actor endorsed Mitt Romney earlier this year. Reporting live from Tampa, Florida, I'm Karen Travers. Now back to you.
All right, Karen, thank you very much. Dirty Harry in the house. All right, now we will tackle this convention from all angles tonight, and it won't just be about tonight, because if you watched last night, and I suspect many of you did, you heard Paul Ryan, and his speech certainly made quite a splash. We're going to break down how he did. I certainly thought it was a good speech, but the question was, how true was it? We will also hear from Representative Debbie Wasserman-Schultz here, head of the DNC, here in some dangerous territory for herself in Tampa, on what she calls Ryan's falsehoods. We'll hear from her. And as we said, it is Mitt Romney's night. We're going to be talking about what he needs to say and what the public needs to hear from him, from some notable Republicans on the ground in Tampa, and we'll be getting into that. And among them, Representative Michael Grimm from our region, who says Mitt Romney ought to focus on policy, not personality. We'll also talk a little bit about foreign policy. It crept into this. You may have heard Condoleezza Rice and also Senator John McCain yesterday thinking they ought to get more involved in Syria. Are you buying that? And does Mitt Romney? We'll talk about that as well. So all those issues we'll tackle in the next 60 minutes. And a programming note for you, of course, we will be live here this evening as well. I'll be taking you at 10 p.m. till the conclusion, all the way through about 11:30 this evening. We'll be having complete coverage for it. But before we get to that, let's assess the convention to this point. And for that, I want to bring in my good friend Dominic Carter, political journalist and author. And Dom, they obviously had the challenge to deal with a hurricane bearing down on them. So it went from 4 days to 3 days. By most accounts, I think they said it started off pretty slow. You think they found their bearings in the last day or so?
I'm glad that you asked that question, because I think in fairness they have. The big question, Richard, is what is Mr. Romney going to do tonight? Will he be able to connect with the American public? As we just saw from the piece you just had from down there in Tampa, in which the reporter said 58% believe that he'll favor the wealthy over the middle class. That's one of the major obstacles that Mr. Romney finds himself in. So the question is, you know, things got off to a slow, rocky start. Chris Christie, as I said last night, I mean, I don't know how you, I know how you think he's a rising star on the national stage.
I gotta admit, his speech certainly didn't help my argument, that's for sure.
Okay, so it didn't help the argument. I think they got off to a slow start, like you said. I think Ann Romney hit the ball out of the park. She hit a grand slam. I think that she perhaps may close the gap, the gender gap a little bit. But tonight, the stakes are very high for Mr. Romney.
How do you think Paul Ryan did?
Paul Ryan, I think, did very well. But the Democrats, as they are accurately doing, what Ryan did was he presented, he's very telegenic, as you well know, very articulate, knows the details. But the fact of the matter is he's so conservative. The question is he right for America? And so in his speech, he did a good job of selling to America a lot of tough love, but he didn't say it was tough love.
No, I thought it was a terrific speech for what it was set out to do. And a lot of VP, nominees, they go after the president, they do the dirty work. And I thought he did, and he did it with a smile, like you said. But I also think, and you always bring up on this show, legal analogies. And I think he laid out a case here, and in many ways, it might come back to haunt him, because we already are hearing right now, you and I are hearing, the Democrats are almost altering some of the platform in North Carolina and the speakers to go directly after what Paul Ryan said. We're going to get into what they believe are some of the falsehoods that were included in the speech here, and also what they believe is a lack of truthfulness that they say is going to be exposed between now and November.
1 to 10, what grade would you give Ryan from last night?
I thought the speech was between an 8 and a 9. I thought it was that solid. I thought he really did what he wanted. I do think, though, beyond just folks like us, the devil in the details, we'll get into what was in or not. Now, real quickly, I've heard competing arguments, and we're going to be joined by, among other folks, Mr. Grimm, congressman from New York, who says, forget the personality to get to the policy. Jeb Bush said earlier today, he needs to connect. He may not be, I think you said, Mr. New Age guy, and it may not be easy for him, but he's got to find himself relatable. If you were writing the speech or vetting the speech that Romney's delivering, is it more important that he says what he will do if elected, or is it more important in telling people here, I'm a good guy like me?
Both. But I have to say this much. Whoever is vetting those speeches, I would give them an F thus far.
Oh, my God.
Because whoever let Chris Christie's speech get by and get loaded into the teleprompter needs to be fired.
Just one point on that. Ann Romney's whole speech was about love.
Yes.
Christie comes on, the first thing he says is, it's better to be respected than loved. It's like, did anybody read the stuff before they did it, or did he, not follow the script? One day we'll find out that answer. But you think tonight, if you're the Romney folks, and we already know he's going to bring people from his Olympic years.
Yes.
He's going to bring people from the Bain years.
Yes.
He's going to also show people from his faith and from his Mormon background, as we just heard. He's painting a narrative and a portrait of his life. Would you tell us something we don't know about you already? Because he's played this campaign safe so far.
Yes. He appears, based on polling to the American people, he being Mr. Romney, as very stiff, especially compared
to...
he
is stiff. He can't get around it.
Okay, I'm being nice. I'm being diplomatic.
Yeah.
Especially compared to somebody like an Obama. But here's the problem for Obama. Obama can deliver a great speech, but Americans are hurting. Now, of course, the Democratic line is that Obama didn't get us in the situation that we're in. It starts with the Republicans. Romney has to tell us things that we don't know about him, but at the same time, this is his first opportunity after being defined by the Democrats for months in a very negative way to explain how can he fix the problem. Richard, you have interviewed these people and Americans every day in terms of people that are hurting. People that are losing their homes, people that are forced to turn to food stamps. Americans are hurting, and they want to hear from someone. They want to know, how are you going to lower that unemployment rate that you talk about every night? How are you going to fix the problem, Mr. Romney?
Make My America the one that I remember.
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to head back to Tampa. We'll be joined by Andrew Whitman live, and we'll be talking about how Paul Ryan did last night. We'll be hearing from some notable Republicans and also Democrats down there to get their take. Stay with us.